Om Shanti. Good evening. A very warm welcome to everyone, those who are visible and those who are invisible as well. Today we are going to explore on the topic of pursuit of happiness. Are you happy? Very good. How about you? Happy? Wonderful. So there is no pursuit then, right? Yes, that's very true. Very true. Yes. So if we look into our life, everything we do, right? Everything we do, small and big, is to be happy, right? Maybe like, for example, maybe like going to a particular place to eat, or being with someone, talking to someone, having a job that I like, that gives me happiness, right? The colleagues, everything we do, like even at home, the things we buy at home, right? The place where we live and the vacations we take, right? Everything we want to feel that happiness. And especially when it comes to children, we are all the more attentive, right? Parents stretch length and breadth to fulfill children's needs, wants, and for them to make happy. But after doing all this, how long does it happiness stay? Does it stay for a very long time? Does it stay forever?
The ones which are based on external experiences, those are, I will call them pleasures. Those
Yeah.
last for small moments,
Yes.
for enough time.
Yeah, that is what makes us go back to it again and again for that experience, right? Example, vacation itself, right? I go on vacation, come back after a few months, again I want to go back to some other place, so has to get back to the same experience of feeling happy, right? So question to ask ourselves, where do we lose that happiness? Once we do everything, right? What happens then? Why is it that it's so fragile? It shatters very quickly. If we look into our own, maybe like, one moment I could be happy, the next moment I may not be. So what happens in between that? Right? So maybe like, as you said, it is a journey. Have we made happiness as a destination point? Meaning, if I do this, I'm happy. If I go there, I'm happy, right? If I made that destination to be happy and not enjoying the journey, right, which is very crucial, isn't it? So then I cannot be happy all along, right? So just like we can say that if I'm commuting to work and it is a pretty long drive, I'm just focused on getting to the office, and after work is done, getting back to home. If that is my focus, the destination point, whatever hurdles I come across on the way, that could be in the form of like maybe like some inconsiderate driver, some bad weather, or road conditions are not good, erratic driver, could be anything, right? So at every hurdle, I'm going to be so grumpy, so impatient, like lose my patience. I'll be complaining, not at all enjoying the journey. Then very soon I'll say that I don't enjoy this work because the commute is not good, right? So instead, everything is there as is. I've accepted the scene how it is, the commute is going to be. And along with that, I keep my mind engaged in something more positive, something that is beneficial for me, something that empowers me, right? If I keep myself engaged in that, in spite of everything happening outside, that will not be affecting me, right? Because something is benefiting. I'm benefited by something. Maybe I may be okay to drive a little further. Similarly, in this case, if I enjoy the journey of life by paying attention to some of the aspects, if I enjoy that journey all along, then I don't have to do something, be with someone, go somewhere to experience that happiness. Right? And the reason for the happiness to be again quickly disappearing, one may have to look into our own habits that we have created. Right? Over a period of time, if we keep on doing same things, we are habituated by it. Otherwise, in our life, if we look into it, there may not be big situations in our life, right? Maybe very few. If we look into it, maybe very few in our life. But what is the reason we are getting upset? The mood is off, right? So many things happen is to, like, again, paying attention to one's own inner world. Right? The reason behind could be many, but one thing is to focus on, am I depending too much on the external, maybe like external things or people? Where are my dependencies lying on? Any dependency is short-lived, right? Any dependency makes me vulnerable. So once I recognize the dependency, then take steps accordingly, it may open up the path to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Right? One such could be expectations. I mean, like, we don't realize that in very, very small things and many ways we expect from people, especially with the family we live with. Right? We expect a lot, small things. Why don't you understand? Why can't you understand? Right? Maybe like wanting to be appreciated, wanting to be acknowledged, being respected. Right? We all look forward to it. And maybe I may expect, like, once I reach home, the dishes would be done and I can relax. It may not be so when I get back home. Right? And again, like, we have to take it realistically. How much the other can do, what is their capacity of understanding or their potential of doing, rather than me expecting many things from everyone else. Right? Everyone has a way of doing. Everyone is different. Their way of thinking is different. So I cannot impose my expectations on them. And in turn, what? I'm not happy when it is not fulfilled. Why do I have to have expectations? Yes, like, we do need the support of the family. We need the cooperation from the family. Having a clear communication and, conveying that, it is better. And even if that is not working, maybe like, I have to take up some actions. Like, yes, I do need help. This would be better. So take actions wherever necessary. But just having the expectation in my mind and wanting them to do it, it would not be fair. Right? And these expectations could go on to that extent that people would keep that in their mind, being disappointed for the expectations not being met. And they could keep that for their many, many years in life and could create that same emotions of unhappiness. They could go through the same sorrow again and again because of expectations. Right? We need to deeply take a look into this. Also, another factor would be, yeah.
So, is it fair to say that expectations from others is the thing, but we also have expectations from ourselves also. So should we stop having expectations from ourselves, like, okay, this is my goal, this is what I want to accomplish? Those expectations are also...
It is good to have expectations from myself. It is okay to have, rather than good, I would say it is okay to have expectations from myself, but it has to be realistic as well. Isn't it? And expecting myself, maybe like, as you said, maybe reaching a goal, it is a good thing. Whatever it's needed, I'll do everything so as to reach the goal. But at the same time, I need to have a backup plan that, yes, having expectations is fair, but I need to have a backup that expectations may not be achieved.
similar application of
Yes.
realistic expectations with our close near ones,
Mhm.
dear ones,
Yes.
like your kids,
Mhm.
your better halves, your siblings, and all of them.
Yeah, we can
This is
have.
the realistic expectation.
Yes. And
Rather than
also,
just cut out the expectations word completely from the relationship,
Mhm.
which obviously is going to bring a lot of happiness.
Mhm.
You don't have expectations
from others, yeah.
basically,
Mhm.
whatever they are doing.
We accept,
You're
right?
just doing what you need to do.
Yes. And even from the relatives, if we are having the realistic expectation and having a backup that, it may not happen, right? For example, even the vacation we take, right? No, we make all the plannings, everything very thoroughly planning is done. And once we reach there, something may go wrong, right? So being prepared for that. So how can I be prepared for that, knowing that anything outside is high probability of going through the change? Everything outside in the world is uncertain, right? Anything could happen. So when I have that set up in the mind that anything could go wrong, right? If it goes wrong, I'll be fine with it. If I'm having that backup plan, it would be easy for me rather than totally expecting it to be so in such a clean picture. If it doesn't happen, it's going to be disappointing.
Another way of saying that always hope for the best,
Mhm.
prepare for the worst.
Yes. Yes.
That you are never surprised.
Yes. We are not taken aback from anything like that. Yeah. So another factor to look into may be like comparison. Again, even this we tend to very casually do it, right? Compare, maybe like when I compare myself to other person, and when I feel I am better, there could be arrogance. I feel that I'm superior, I know this better, I'm good at it. There could be that attitude. And when I compare to someone else who is better, not me so much, there could be also feeling of inferiority complex. I put myself down. Both are not good for me. So instead, I look at them, observe them, take what is good for me, adapt it. That which is good for me helps me for the self improvement or for the self growth, right? I can take it in that stride. But again, bringing this comparison to the youngsters, it is not at all good for the youngsters, especially siblings, to be compared. So why? Because it is heard that when the siblings are compared, maybe for their academic capacity or the talents they have or the skills they have, one is appreciated more than the other. When they grow up, that stain remains on them, and it is very, very hard for them to have that self-esteem, even though they may be successful in life. But it makes them very hard to get over the fact that they are not good enough. Right? So we have to be very mindful with siblings or with cousins, youngsters, to build their nature, their qualities, however they are, to nurture that, not to compare and bring them down. Anything you want to share on that?
Growing up, we always had this concept of role model. Like big personalities like Gandhi or who we can look up to and basically follow their path. What good examples they have set.
Yes.
Similarly, when we look at people around us, we should just look at good qualities.
Yes. Be motivated, right? So there could be many who are like inspiring us, like, they're motivating us. Definitely, I do look into that and I consider that and I adapt that, but not something that would bring me down.
One you were talking about is like, okay, we are good at this and bad at this. That feeling of negativity, jealousy.
Yes.
That is bad.
Yes. Yeah. Why do we feel jealousy? Because, for example, right, if I have recruited someone at work, and if that person turns out to be very knowledgeable, he's moving ahead, maybe ahead of me, right? If there is insecurity in me, right, I would be jealous of that person because I'm seeing that person is going ahead. Insecurity, why? Because I need something. Maybe like I need that recognition. I need people to value me, to recognize me who I am. I'm invaluable. So that sense of desire is there in me, and that is not happening. The other person is getting it. So then there is a deep chances of being envy of that person. Desire not met results in envy. Right? So that is again a very subtle competition that is going on. Right? So that could be again taken it at different levels. So even the competition, let it be to myself. Meaning that, yes, I did this yesterday, I learn and I move on and don't repeat that again next time. Let there be, I did that, I achieved something in this period of time, I'll improve for the next time. Right? So let there be a kind of a inner competition or healthy competition within myself, isn't it? And also another loophole could be to lose happiness, could be seeing myself through others' eyes. Right? Through what vision they are looking at me. There could be insult, there could be disrespectful, that could be ignoring, or even when we go to any place, like, maybe like, public place like mall or somewhere, some people tend to respect you based on what you're wearing. Right? What all, like, maybe like accessories you carry. Do I have to value that? Do I want to be respected in that sense and be happy about it? Right? What does respect mean to me? When I know myself in a true way, right? When I know myself and when I know my true qualities, have the right understanding of who I am, and when I begin to move along with that right understanding, I won't be depending on, like, that kind of a respect. Because there is value in the true self. When I begin to see outside, look outside and try to please them or try to gain respect based on their notion of whatever the physical appearance could be, that is always temporary, isn't it? Once, right? Short-lived, yes. Once I get into my own self, the true treasure, which is always accessible, when I have that, why should I be depending externally, something like that? So when we look into such small things in everyday life, so then we come to know that where am I losing this happiness? When I'm depending, competing, complaining, criticizing, everywhere, right? When I'm valuing myself through others' eyes, of course, I cannot be pleasing everyone, right? So when I'm basing my happiness on all this, then definitely I will not be able to. These are kind of like, small gates that are left open where the feeling of happiness is being leaked. Right? The energy of happiness is being depleted. So the more I stay in touch with my own self, the true nature for who I am, my innate quality, more realistically being in touch with that helps me to be happy always, without any dependencies. Right? Coming to the happiness, definition of happiness, how would you define happiness? Mm-hmm.
Enjoying the experience.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
It's pursuing out of pursuit of godly pursuits or godly pursuits.
Mm-hmm. basically joy. That would be right. Anything else you want to share? How would you define happiness? When you feel happy, right? What do you feel? What is the feeling inside? Anyone on Zoom can also share.
Being peaceful.
Peaceful, yes. That makes you feel happy.
You feel energetic?
Energetic, okay. Because energy is saved, right? Right.
Being content.
Content, yes.
You feel elevated.
Elevated, yes, true. Anything else? Yes, definitely. We do have that freedom. So we do feel that lightness. We do feel that joy, right? When there is lightness and joy within, it comes with its own companions as well, right? In the sense like when I'm feeling light and carefree inside, I'll be more kind. I'm generous, right? I'm willing to cooperate with others, right? So I'm able to extend my helping hand. I'm able to accept others however they are. I'm more understanding. All because I'm feeling joyful inside. I am happy by myself. This happiness of being with oneself and experiencing that, it's always accessible. It is independent of itself. Just I need to take out that time. Right? And also looking into one's own self, as was mentioned earlier, the happiness being shattered very quickly, I need to quite so often check what are the feelings I'm carrying right at this moment. If I pause and check instead of, oh, I'm not feeling good, let me go for shopping. My mood is not good, let me talk to someone. Doing that is everything is fine, but it doesn't solve the issue. Instead of going for a quick fix, I pause, sit with myself and see what is this feeling, which I'm not, it doesn't make me feel comfortable, which is kind of unpleasant. What is this feeling? Okay, step one, recognize the feeling. And then tracing back, going back, okay, this feeling, that feeling comes, there is a thought behind the feeling, right? Tracing back and seeing what are the kind of thoughts I'm having, or how was the interaction with this person, what kind of thoughts I'm carrying from that. So if there was any thoughts like anything of comparison, competing, or jealousy, or any kind of hatred or guilt or dislike, anything negative, if I'm carrying that, so those thoughts are making the feeling not good as well. So instead of fixing the problem for temporarily, going again for the roots and checking out what are the reasons. So once I realize the reasons, it helps me to not to repeat that next time. It saves me from going through that phase of disappointment again and again. I need to look to the reasons, right? Have you come across or have you experienced anything in your life that you are expressing, you're feeling a particular emotion, and how have you solved it? How have you overcome it? Anything that you can recall? What helped you? Maybe have the feeling of sadness, right? Or guilt even could be. What measures do you take?
Sister?
Yes.
Recently, I experienced a lot of fear, like due to uncertainty. So what if this happens? What if that happens? I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do, how to handle it. Everything seemed out of control. I was hoping that doesn't happen. So it was a chain of thoughts. Yeah, very fearful. Then at one point, I recognized that, and then, like you said, I sat and meditated. I thought I addressed my thoughts, and then I decided, okay, now it's up to God. Let God handle all these various scenarios. If it happens, it's up to Him. But as of now, whatever I know, this is what I'm going to do. So that immediately calmed me down. And even now, although all those scenarios are a possibility, I know that if that happens, God will take care of it. But as of now, depending on what I know, this is what we're going to do.
Nice. So basically, like handing over everything, right? Handing over to everything to God and thinking that, it will be taken care, right? And even like, fear is one of the biggest energy depleter, right? Fear is even like guilt could be, or that becomes a big source that takes away our happiness. As she said, there could be possibility of anything going wrong, but what can I do about it? Being fearful doesn't help me, right? Instead, I should be more, again, like as you said, being realistic and thinking, right? What is the need to think like that? What is the need to go through that line of thoughts when everything is fine? Right? Maybe like again some inner maybe like again insecurity, something lacking within me that makes the fear appear bigger, right? Grow in size, right? So again, like we have to find our ways to recognize and come out of it. Let it not linger for long. The more it lingers, it becomes my natural nature to be upset all the time, right? Because it is always sitting there at the back of the mind. That feeling of sadness is there, that feeling of disappointment is there. But the more I hold on to it, it becomes harder to get over it. So quite so often I need to check, like, what are the feelings I'm holding on to? And even if something unpleasant has happened at the past, letting go of it. Because one or the other time, it definitely shows up in my attitude, in my behavior. So it is not only good between the relationships, but also it's not good for my health either. So we have to take a wholesome approach on this, so that I don't have to be in pursuit of happiness. Some of the companies have made that their goal, that pursuit of perfection, that it's a perpetual pursuit of perfection, that is to always satisfy the customers, right? I have to check that, am I perpetually in pursuit of happiness? Is it possible for me to be happy without making happiness as a destination? Spending time with my own self without doing anything, without depending on anyone, is it possible to be? Just we need to explore on that and see how it is. Right? Would you like to share anything? Good. Seem to be having some thought. Anything? Okay, so maybe we'll sit in meditation for a few minutes.
Sister, I have a question actually.
Yeah, maybe like, can we do it after the meditation? Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thank you. Sit comfortably. very much being in the present. I consciously free myself from the web of expectations, comparison, and competition. I consciously free myself from any kind of fear, anxiety, worry, or guilt. I consciously let go of the past. That I have created disappointments with. Freeing myself from any kind of negative feelings. Enables me to access the true self. My innate nature is that of happiness. My birthright. Is to be happy. I'm not dependent on anything or anyone. so as to experience the true happiness. No one can take this away from me unless I allow them to. This inner happiness is unconditional. Always accessible. Whenever I want. Om Shanti. Yes. Do any of you have questions? Yes. Okay. Someone from Zoom had a question, right? Please go ahead. Okay. So, okay. Mike, please. Later. So no questions from Zoom? All right. Thank you very much for joining. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, sister. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, sister.